any advice you can give any students who are considering becoming a CSI?
It depends on at what level. So for degree students, if they're interested in scene investigation, it's just about basically getting yourself ahead of the game. Actually, this applies for everyone. Have some kind of scientific background, because it's best if you understand the science behind what you're doing and why you're doing it. So that scientific background really helps you know what you're going to get from that piece of evidence, if that makes sense. So having a scientific background is good. Having a photographic background is really good, because you've got to be able to work your way around a camera and be technically competent. But the other thing is do things to get yourself ahead of the game. So volunteer in anything really that's related. So you could be a special constable. For the younger kids, join police cadets or army cadets. When I was a student, I volunteered in victim support in the witness service. So there's lots of different areas that you can volunteer in that'll give you experience that will kind of put you ahead of the game for when you're going into those interview processes or application processes. And the other thing is you're not always going to walk straight into your dream job, and crime scene and forensic investigation is a very competitive field. So you've got to do those things to put you ahead of the game. But the other thing is think more about the kind of things that you're going to apply for, because sometimes it's easy to get a job in an organisation and move over than what it is walking straight into your dream job. So if you don't walk straight into your dream job, don't be disheartened, but think about the bigger picture and the bigger scope when you're applying for stuff, because there's loads of different jobs out there that can help progress you towards scene investigation, if that's really what you want to do, or forensic science, if that's really what you want to do. But there's also lots of other investigative careers out there that are really interesting as well. So just off the top of my head, custody investigation officers, they interview people in custody and gather evidence from suspects. Coroner's investigation officers, so working as a coroner's officer. There's jobs in victim support. There's also jobs in the court services. There's jobs you can be a civilian police investigator now. You don't always have to be a police officer. You can do civilian police investigation roles. Mm-hmm. Detention officer. There's so many different jobs out there that if you just kind of widen the net, it gives you that experience to then take it towards your dream job. Because like I say, it is a highly competitive field. If people think they're going to walk straight into a job, I think that it can be disheartening when that doesn't happen. But if you keep at it and keep going, you know, it will happen for you.
I think Anne's just got pretty much everything in there. I think the only other thing I would add is those skills that we were talking about earlier. People can get those skills through so many other jobs from whatever you've done in the past. So my very first job, I worked in Primark, and then I worked as a doctor's receptionist in the NHS. But being able to say that I had work experience where actually it's public facing, so actually I've got great communication skills. So anything like that, any jobs that you currently have, think about the skills, and even courses. So your degree course, you'll be delivering presentations, you'll be working to deadlines. So don't just think about I've got the course or I've worked wherever it may be, but actually it's not relevant. It's all relevant. If you think about those skills that we've talked about and actually address them and show how you've used them, then that's really useful as well.
Yeah, because employers love examples. So if you can take one of those skills, like Dee says, from your degree or from a part-time job that you're using to get you through your studies or volunteer experience, but you get asked a question in interview and you can show how you've got that skill and where you've used it and give an example, then you'll be laughing. That's where people are really looking. The other thing that I think is really important to say at the minute as well is for people to keep an eye on ISO standards, because that is just changing significantly at the moment in crime scene and forensic investigation, and crime scene investigators are now having to pass competency tests. So to be aware of what's going on in forensics and the ISO standards and keep an eye on that. It's something that's at the fore, so people will be asked about it in interview in particular, I would think. Currently, that probably won't be the same going forward, but it's important to be aware of those kinds of things and what's going on to keep yourself current and relevant. So that's another thing, actually, is join some societies, like the Chartered Society of Forensic Sciences is a great one. They run lots of conferences, they do lots of stuff for students, they have lots of publications, events, usually not in pandemic times, but where there's face-to-face stuff going on. So, you know, join an organisation such as the Chartered Society to keep yourself up to date with what's relevant and what's going on in the forensic arena.